I'm going to share my screen. Today we are going to talk about the 5 dimension of times. Do you see yeah. Your body is here, your body is always present, but your mind, your thoughts and feelings are pulling you to the past and to the future. And we'll connect it to food, body image, and everything. The box is the past. Everything that happened in the past, in your childhood, even a week ago, we put in the box in the past. The stone is the near past. Near past at everything that happened today from the morning and yesterday. The candle is the present, here and now, the moment. The bell is the near future, everything that will happen today until you'll fall asleep and tomorrow. And the mysterious item is the long-term future, the unknown. We want to be calm and to get to the feeling, to the sensation that everything is all right. Everything was all right in our past, in our near past. Anyway, it's a stone. We can never change it. Everything will be okay today and tomorrow, and everything will be all right in the future. And then the system will be calm and we will be happy. And this is the journey. We are going to dive to each dimension separately. So there are 4 types of people. There are people that spend a lot of time in the past. They are very nostalgic. They collect things. When they travel around the world, they will buy all kind of souvenirs, right? They're emotional. They remember, they have journals or sometimes notebook from the past or cards. In the past, we have also our imprints, our traumas, and things we learn as kids when we grew up. The near past is everything that happened today and yesterday. So this is more people that in the end of the day, before falling asleep, they will think about the day that passed. So I'm sure there are people in the group that can relate to that. If you're in an event, in wedding, or you had something important at work, you want to talk about it, to exhaust it. The near future people will think about the next day in bed before falling asleep. They will think about the next day, the next moment. They will drive somewhere. They will think, I will find parking or not. They're in a meeting. They will think about the next meeting. They eat lunch. They will think about what should I eat for dinner. And the long-term future people that likes to think about a vision, we'll talk about it more. Today, we are going to dive to each dimension separately and connect it to eating, to food, and to body image. The past. Children are so soft, right? Babies and toddlers, and they learn and receive everything from their parents. I wanted to create a small chart. You write imprints in one column, father, mother, and me, you. You can write your name. Mother can come first, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to talk about few imprints that you receive from your parents, okay? 4 columns. Imprints, mother maybe, father, and me. And we'll start with food. When you looked at your parents until the age of 6, usually the imprints are created very early. So if you don't remember 6, maybe 10. Okay, the earliest that you remember. What did you learn from your mom? And you think about her, for her, food was what? And I will give you a few options. Sometimes a parent or a grandparent cannot say, I love you. It's hard for people to say, I love you. So they will cook for you to show you how much they love you. I'm here standing from 6 a.m. cooking the food you love. Yeah. So the imprints for the child is food equal love. I'm coming back home and I'm receiving love through food. This is one imprint. The problem about that, when those kids will grow up, they will eat according to the love they have in their life. Sometimes she's separated from her friend, from her boyfriend, and then she's sitting and eating, ice cream. You see it a lot in the movies, a chunk of ice cream. She's sad, right? Or food is compensation. I don't know, but many parents are doing that. I hear it everywhere here in San Francisco. Let's say there was an accident, a kid fell, something happened. Oh, let's buy ice cream. What's the connection? I have pain in my knee. What do I need when I have pain? I need a hug. Let's buy candy. Let's go to your favorite restaurant. You plan to go to the zoo and it's raining. Let's go to eat something. So for the kid, it's very confusing and it's so common. Food become compensation, right? And then you eat according to things, successful things you achieve in life or disappointment. You got your job that you wanted, great. You didn't, you go into the refrigerator, you go and eat. Food equal compensation. I want you to read all the options and then you will write in the columns. So the imprint is food, one, food, and we'll see what you receive from your mom, what you will see from your dad, and I will ask you, what do you think will be a healthy imprint to give to yourself and to kids? Okay. Another option, food is punishment. I traveled in Europe and I taught in Sweden for a while, and I heard many stories, not all the Swedish people, of course, right? But I heard stories. The kid is getting a plate with food in lunchtime and he's not finishing the food. He will get the same plate in the evening. You need to eat all the food. You cannot leave anything. Now, sometimes you are full, or sometimes it's you don't want it so much. We'll talk about when we are connected to our body, we can know what the body needs today. Yeah. So the kids are still connected, and then, oh, I don't want that. Not because I'm spoiled. Maybe it's not the right thing for me, or maybe I'm not hungry anymore. But the kid needs to force himself or herself, right, to eat. It's kind of an inner rape through food. Of course, I'm not comparing it, but if you had this a sensation before, you know what I mean. I sat with people that really describe me the feeling that you need to swallow things you don't want, and it's painful. And then if you didn't finish, you are doing it again in the evening. If you didn't like the food in lunchtime, it's already cold in the evening. Imagine that. Food equal punishment. And then eating disorders, people punish themselves with food. I want you to think about your parents. What did you receive from them? Compensation, love, punishment, sometimes also communication. The only time they ask you, how are you? How was your day? Was around the dinner table or once a week on Saturday night or Friday night. So food is communication. Wow, I'm seen. I'm seen. Yes, I want food to be seen. And then when you grow up, you want to be seen, you cook, you invite people, right? Or it's very hard for you to eat alone. You eat, but you need to watch a movie or listen to an audiobook. Food is communication. So I want you to write something in the column of your mom. What did you learn from your mom? What do you learn from your dad? And what do you already recognize that you have? And I will give more option later. But I want you to think what will be a good imprint about food. And you can share in the chat. I'm always curious to see what people will share. Food equal what? Gabi, you of course know. What will be a good imprint?
Priya, do you mind if I share mine?
Please.
So this is something that I was definitely something I recognized when I started doing this work that triggered a lot of my thought patterns and behaviors now. My mom expressed her love through food, and that's how she showed her husband and her children she loved them, and food was comfort. And so when I became, a teenager, even I started developing overeating episodes in response to needing love or comfort. So if I was feeling uneasy or if I was feeling stressed, if I was feeling like I needed a hug, I was like stress, emotional binge eating food. And also though, on the other side of things, when I was celebrating something, it was always around food because that's how it was when I was younger too. And so it was almost like if it was good or if it was bad, I was filling a void with food. And so I know that stemmed from my mother because that was her way of showing us she loved us, was always having a home cooked meal. I remember on Mondays, she used to always make brownies because as kids, you don't like Monday because school's starting. And every Monday we'd come home to brownies in the oven. And so it was again like, okay, we know you're unhappy that it's Monday, so warm brownies. And so then I became like addicted in a way to comforting myself with like warmed baked goods as an adult. Um, and that was my mother. And then with my father, food was like hard. If you worked hard, you got fed a good meal. So every day he would go to work and come home to a cooked meal from my mother. And so that's how I started connecting, like, okay, you need almost like self-worth. You need a reason, you need to work hard in order to like deserve a good meal. um so that was my mother and father. And then for me, how I hope to pass it on to clients and younger kids is looking at food as a form of energy. So,
Yeah.
if you're hungry, or if looking at food as like the most intimate relationship we can have on earth, because you're taking something and you're putting it inside of you, and it is giving your energy. So looking at food as like, wow, that food is gonna, maybe sometimes it is a warm brownie because your soul needs some nourishment, but sometimes it's fruits and vegetables because your body needs energy. And so looking at it more of like a energetic exchange rather than a self-worth or a comfort exchange.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. So we want to untangle this connection between emotion, right, and food. So yes, energy, nourishment, and sometimes we go into imaginary meditation that you imagine that you are a car and you are driving, and then you need gas and you fill up the gas, but then you put also jerry cans in the back seat and in the trunk and in the seat next to you, and the car is heavy and it's hard to drive and you cannot invite guests. But food is gas, food is energy, right? There is a restaurant every corner, gas station every corner. We don't need to accumulate, and we build a healthy mantra. We'll talk in the end about the solution. Don't worry. I'll talk about the problems, but also solutions in the end. And one of them will be to build a mantra that fits you. Okay, so we continue with the imprints. One is food. Sometimes the imprints of diets, two diets. I don't know if you had a parent that did a lot of dieting, was struggling with food, and diet equals struggle, sadness, anger, and frustration. So if you have that, I want to know if you received it or not. If you have it in the book of your heart, the imprint sits here, and we want to release them. Another imprint is my body. My body is the third one. My body equal what you can write. It's great that you can look at it later. Did your parents said something about your body? It's not always from parents, by the way. It can be from teachers, unfortunately, siblings, or friends at school. Look at your body. You are too lean. You are too that. Your legs. Remark about the body. Your kids are so sensitive about that. They don't even notice that. They use their body to climb trees, to walk in the forest, to run on the beach. And then when you put too much awareness about the body, especially in the time of teenager, all the hormones and everything, it can be an imprint and a strong one. So I wanted to think, and of course, not everything that I will say today will relate to everyone here, but hopefully something that I will say today will touch you, and then you'll know your next step. Another thing that can really influence the relationship with food is the first memory. And I want to talk about it. So usually people don't remember their childhood, the first few years, but there was one memory, remember, that you felt scared or sad and you realize that you are alone. It can be something small. I'm going to share with you a story of one of my students and that I met, I think one of my first one 20 years ago, but it stayed with me. And I want you to think about yourself. When is the first thing you felt, the first time in your life you felt fear or sadness? Yes, for me, at the age of 4, my parents divorced. It could be 6, 8, 9, 16. I hope that you had many years of freedom. And the way to recognize it is, when did you lose your freedom? And the freedom is, again, to climb trees, to be silly, to be funny, to dance freely, to cry freely, to be excited. When did you lose this freedom? Some people say, I never remember, I don't remember time, I never had time or freedom. And then maybe one of your parents was a little bit harsh or a critic, and then you lost this freedom really early that you can't remember. But some people remember a few years of freedom and then something happened. So with this student of mine, we call her G. She was an acupuncturist working with eating disorders, with weight loss and things like that. And she came to me and she told me, I need to tell you, I have a problem with eating. I'm bulimic and I need help. And I didn't find the answer. I did the imprints, I did other sessions that I'm going to share today, and I didn't find the answer. And then I asked her, what is your first memory that you felt fear? And she said, I lived in kibbutz. I lived with many, many other babies. The parents had to wake up early in the morning. So it's like a children house. And there is one woman that is responsible for all those kids. You fall asleep. And if you have a problem in the middle of the night, you go and you press the intercom. Even there is not a human being there, there is an intercom that you press. And she woke up in the middle of the night. She was 7 years old, and she is pressing and she's saying, Mommy, Mommy, I want my mommy. It can happen. My daughter is 8 years old. I think 2 nights ago she came to my bed. It can happen, right? Bad dream, something. And then a woman came and she said, Go back to bed. And the kid said, No, I want my mom. This woman promised her to call her mom. But nobody came. Her mom didn't come. The woman didn't come back. She went outside, sitting on the sidewalk, feeling alone in the world. I said, how it's connected to food? I didn't know. And I started to ask questions. So with the first memory, if you know it, you write it. Homework I want to give you. Journal your first memory. And then you ask really small questions. Why she started to have eating disorder a day after this event. And I asked her, tell me, were you hungry? This is why you woke up. She said, no. I didn't know. And then I asked her many questions, and I asked her how this woman looked like. And she said she was really big. So this child received an imprint to be fat is to be evil. And she didn't want to eat anymore. The opposite story, another student, she had a grandmother that took care of her, that loved her, while her mom wasn't there at all. She was absent, she was in depression. Her mom was feeding her a lot of food, and she herself ate a lot. So as a woman, she wanted to be big, she wanted to feel love, she wanted to remember her grandmother. So many times we think it's conscious, but we have hidden things in the unconscious we want to find. And the last story about the past is a story of my mom. My own mom came to my courses, and she shared that when she was young, she was sitting and reading a book in the balcony, and her mom didn't want her to go out. Her mom felt that life is dangerous. She preferred that she will stay home. So you know what she did? She gave her food. So my mom was sitting and reading books, and then her mom gave her watermelon and nuts, and she was so happy, but she ate all the time. Until today, she's not going a lot to festival. My father is going to festival to enjoy, and she's staying home doing what? Reading and eating. But she didn't know it's negative, and she struggled with that all her life because it sounds so sweet, right? Like food is joy, food is comforting. It's like her mom spoiled her through food. So in the past, you remember the five dimension? The past, there's so many things hidden there in the box. This is why it's a box, because I want to open the box and to start to work with it. My imprints, my first memory. There is another imprint, last one that I will share with you. And we call it number one and number two. So we have one, food, right? We have imprints about diet, imprints about my body. I want to write the first memory, it's something else. And the last imprint for today, because we cannot share all the 20, is number one and number two. And I want to ask you a few things. So some people are number ones. Number one, think about themselves. I want, I deserve. Number two, will think about others, complying others. It's different kind of lenses. Are you thinking about yourself, what you need, or you always looking to comply others? By the way, both of them are not good. It's a scale. And I want to give you small examples. You think also about your mom and your dad. You will write in the column one or two to your parents, but also, of course, what is most important for us is your column. You go to a friend and you just started a diet, a program with Gabby, but you go to a friend and she tells you, I just baked a cake especially for you. What do you do? Number one will say, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. I can't eat it. It's not, maybe a little piece, but I'm not sure, Gabby. But number two will eat it. Will eat it. Yeah, no matter what. You go with a friend to a cafe and you listen and you share. And after a while, you want to go home, but it's only 40 minutes past. And you're saying to yourself, it's not so nice, right, to leave now. So what do? You order another dish. Yeah, this is number two. Number one, say, I'm so sorry, I need to go, or, well, it's your time, it's your life. There is number twos. You sit with friends and your kids are eating and your husband, and then there are leftovers. What number twos will do? I know, we'll eat the leftovers, right? Number one, no. Number one, I will cook for myself. What I need today. When you choose what to cook, when you have a family, what do you think about, others or yourself? The body, as I said before, knows what he needs. In Japan, the old women, they're lucky. They go to the market every day. They want to eat fresh. They don't have a big refrigerator. We have a huge refrigerator, right, with everything. No, she goes to the market. She go around and she see, what do I want to eat today? Fish, tomato, what my body needs. And she choose every day. It's beautiful, right? So when you are thinking about what to cook today, the lenses are thinking about others or thinking about yourself. Yeah. So all of that will tell you, are you a number one or number two? Are you thinking about yourself or complying other people? You sit in a restaurant and the food comes a little bit cold, not so nice. Number one will replace it. Number two will eat it. When you want your family or you with your partner or you with your friend want to choose a restaurant, and the restaurants are more healthy, right? And the restaurant you cannot find anything healthy to eat or something that go with your menu. Who choose the restaurant? You're your friend, but you start a program. It's important for you. So in order to really shift the mentality, we need to do some inner work. We'll talk about it. First of all, we need to be aware, oh, this is our problem. How I can really be loyal to myself and to really stick with the program if I comply so much. There is another tendency of number twos that all day you serve. You clean the house, you answer email, you pick up the kids, or you do whatever your partner wants you or needs you to do. Parents needs attention. There is a lot to do, right? A lot to do. And in the end of the day, you sit, you are tired, you are exhausted. You want to do something fun. You want something small for yourself. You cannot. It's dark outside. Nobody wants to meet you. The easiest way is to go and eat something. But you're already there because of your mentality, right? Because you're exhausted. So it will be easier for us to learn how to change the mentality, not to be number two, not one, doesn't want to be number one and the opposite, but to find this middle way that we can be flexible. Number one also can eat too much. Number ones are people that are leaders. They want to choose and to lead and to be in control. I deserve. It's very hard to tell them what to do. So about food, those people will say, I want to eat this Nobody will tell me otherwise. I will eat this and I will eat now and I will eat more. Because if you eat a piece of cake, a really good one, and I love cheese, sorry about that, I really love baked cheesecake. What do you want to do a second after? To eat another piece, right? Everybody wants another piece. Every child knows and wants another candy. Number one will take it because I deserve. And number two, maybe will not touch it, or depends. So I wanted to think about, and it's an imprint, and the reason it's in the past because it's connected to your habitat. Your mom was more number one or more number two, more like a servant or more like a queen, a princess. I wanted to write in the chart that you made one or two, and your dad. And in relationship, it's very easy to see who is number one or two, right? Both parents fell asleep, just before falling asleep, they remember that the door is not locked. Who will go and lock the door? Or you call them in the night. Did I wake you up? And they already fell asleep. Number two will say, no, no, I just went into bed, even though it's the voice of somebody that really woke up from a deep sleep. Number one will say, of course you woke me up, call tomorrow. So you know with your parents who is number one and two. Sometimes both parents number one. If both parents number one, by the way, all the kids will be one or two. What do you think? I will tell you. You can also share in the chat, but we wanted to really, we have a lot of things to teach. So, but think for a second, if both parents are number one, so if you're right to, if you're a single mom, let's take a single mom or a single parent, it can be also a man, a single parent, and she's a queen. I'm sleeping now from 2 to 4, don't disturb me. The kid will be number two. You're right? She's number one. The kid will be number two. When this kid will grow up, she will become a mother. She's a servant, and her kid will be number one, right? The karmic law, we call it the karma, the past, the karma is moving from generation to generation. But two parents, if there are two parents, number one, all the kids will be number one. I will tell you why. Think about parents, a family, number one, sits in a restaurant, and the father is saying, I want to drink wine. And the mother is saying, I want to drink fresh lemonade. The kid, what number twos usually drink in restaurants? Do you know? You know, because I'm sure there are many number twos here. Water, right? Why not to drink water? So the kid will say, I will drink water. No, no way. He will drink. It will say, I want Coke, I want Sprite, and I want to go to another restaurant. So basically, if the kid receives two parents, two memories that are the same, there is no confusion. If two parents, number two, polite, volunteering, helping, all the kids will be number two. But usually, number ones attract number two. Think about your relationship or previous relationships. One and two, and then it's confusing. Firstborn child. Now I want you to share in the chat. Firstborn child. First child, sometimes first grandchild will be one or two. Yes, thank you. One, but then another kid is born and they're fighting on the toy. Usually parents train the eldest to be number two. So the eldest will be number two complying, and the second one will be number one, but not always. Sometimes it's a girl after a girl or a boy after a boy, or the first one prefer not to give space, and then the second feel a little bit less. Anyway, he's younger, right? So he's trying to push, and it will become aggressive one. It's very fast, but I want you to think about yourself. Two parents, one or two. I don't know if where are you in the family, if you have siblings or not. Only child will be number one, usually, unless two parents are two. But then also, two parents two will, only child will be number one. So think about yourself and then connect it to your eating habits. This is the important part here, right? Number one, no, it's very hard to guide you guys because you have, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You became number one. Maybe you are second and you want space. Maybe just they spoiled you because you are the young ones. It's okay. It's great to be number one. By the way, it's great in life. You achieve more, right? You can ask for more money at work. Everything is okay. But then to calm it down as well, because number ones will never be satisfied. They always want more, not only more food. They want a younger partner. They want more, a better phone, a better model, a new car. They want more and more, and peace is missing. And number two, you'll never be happy. You comply other people. You give so much. What about you? Right? And you can really see by the way do you take time to make yourself a beautiful salad or something healthy, or do you really curve in your schedule time to exercise? Because everybody will need more from us. It's never enough, and you will not get a medal in the end. Okay, so this is why in the past, and I'm going to share my screen again to remind you the modality that we work with today, the 5 dimension of time. So we, until now, talked only about the past, right? The box. We talked about the imprints. We talked about the first memory. We talked about number one and twos, and everything is in the past. So people that have emotional eating from the past, it's connected to something in the unconscious. And sometimes it's so hard to trace it because we don't understand it until we really sit with ourselves and start to inquire. And it's a beautiful journey, and it's such a good feeling to find the answer. Such a good feeling. I'm moving to the near past. The near past is a stone. It's heavy. And the near past are people that in the end of the day, they think about the day that passed. What do you think will be the price of those people? Some of you are like that, right? What they are doing to themselves, you can share in the chat if it can relate to you. In the night, they're in bed, and you think about the day that passed. Do you think about it in a positive way? Yes, you think about it in a negative way. You worry and you blame yourself. There is a whip, a small whip under the pillow, and you start to do that. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? You start to blame yourself, and guilt is connected to eating. Many people shared with me and with Gabby, of course, that they blame themselves. And after you blame yourself, you feel, what do you feel? Ah, it's such a hard feeling. You don't want to feel it. So what do? You go to eat. And we'll connect it soon to also which part in us is doing that. So blaming yourself, if you see yourself in the near past, maybe it's connected to overeating. And then you eat and then you blame yourself. It's a circle, right? Again and again, and it feels really, really bad. The near future, the bell, it's people that thinks about the next moment. All the time things I need to do. I need to do. What is the price there? If the near past is guilt, the near future is stress. Highly, highly stressed people. The solution and the way we work with the near past and the near future are the same, and we are going to talk about it soon today. Okay? Guilt, you are blaming yourself and you are stressing yourself. Okay? And there are solutions for everything. I know we are talking about negative things in order to find the answer, but there is a way out. So when people say, like, I stress myself, I love myself, I blame myself, Who is the I and who is the self? The I is the mind, and the self is the heart. So we're going to separate ourselves for two: I, the mind, and the heart. And you remember that I spoke about the first memory? When it happened to you that you lost freedom, that you lost this balance, the mind became strong. Because suddenly you learn that you need to protect yourself. You need to be in control. It's not your fault. You had to be in control in order to survive, and you know why. So the mind take over and the heart is suppressed. And then we lose freedom. I don't know how many people here dance freely. Do you dance freely without alcohol, drugs, just music, moving the body? Do you cry freely? It's so important to cry. Kids cry and then you cleanse yourself. I cry freely. If you answer no to one of them, it means that the mind is strong. Can you cry in front of other people? This is even harder, right? Yeah. So the mind take over, the heart is suppressed and it's starting to boil. Usually it starts with anger. And soon we'll talk about anger and relationship to food. And if it's not allowed to show anger at your home, it can boil into sadness. It's like inner stew. And over the years, it can boil into depression and despair. The way that the mind controls the heart is exactly through guilt, because if you blame someone, it becomes small, and stress, right? And criticism. And this is the way that the mind controls the self. The only thing we need to do is to change the contract that was signed back then between the mind and the heart. And we have a way to do it. There is a way to do it. The mind that all the time overthink and stress and blame and feel fear and all of that is tired, right? Maybe it's still working for you, but in the end, people burned out. It's too much for them. They just can't do it anymore, and you see it all around, or they get sick or something. So, this machine that is working too much, it will not work long term, and there is an inner price. What the heart will do? Imagine a prisoner. Let's say the mind is a jailer, yeah, and the heart is a prisoner. What a prisoner can do. She wants freedom, she wants happiness, she wants joy. You know that prisoners in real prison in life, or they eat or they smoke. Did you know? That's what they do. They don't have something else. So again, when the mind is pushing and belittling the self, in the end, the heart will go to food. And it's so common. Yeah. It can be screens, it can be food, it can be alcohol, but something that will just feel good. And why it feels good? There is a reason. And here we explore another thing, and I know it's a lot in one lecture, but I'm giving you points, and I hope that each of you will take one or two things from this lecture. But when your mind, thoughts, this part of protect, we call it the protector, because we are not against the mind. It saved us and we need the mind. The protector is protecting you through belittling you, blaming you, and stressing you. How do you feel inside? Probably sad or angry. And then when you eat, and I'm not talking about here and there, eating too much. Usually people say to me, when I eat, the mind is quiet. I heard it so many times. I have a break from my mind. Or when I throw up, I have a break of my mind. And we need a break so much like water in the desert, right? So it's not that your heart really wants food. By the way, it's never the case. I have a session that I call the opening, and we talk to the mind separately into the heart. We are going in, and I ask you, and we have a way to ask really the inner child, what do you want? What do you really want? It's never food. It's never food. It's always, I want connection. I want love. right? Like Gabby said, I want to fall in love. I want touch. I never heard I want food. But this is meantime. Meantime, because you want a little bit of joy, a little bit of freedom from your mind, so you eat. So this is why many times it's not enough to work with food. It's good to change uh, the the protector, the way that your mind is treating you. And then the mind is there. It's easy for him to hold the program. He's diligent, he's responsible, he's curious, he's young. He gives the structure, and the heart follows. The heart prefer not to follow a judge or a critic or a policeman or jailer. The heart wants to follow a leader, a calm leader. Think about Gabby. You work with her because she's kind, because she believes in you, because she sees you, right? And she has all the knowledge. But you see the energy that you want. Or think about a teacher that you really loved, in high school or college. They're calm. They saw you, they looked at your eye level. So when the man is a protector, a judge, or policeman, it's very hard for the heart. Okay, I will not eat that. You're belittling me and blaming me and hard with me, and now you're taking also chocolate away. It's not fair. This is why working with relationship with food, we want to give something to your heart instead of food. With the kid, let's say a kid is playing with a toy, and then you want to take the toy away. Maybe it's not safe. If you take it away, what the kid will do, the toddler will scream, right? So I always taught my son, when you take something from my little one, from Emma, give her something else. And then you give her something else. And then, oh, wow, it's so beautiful. She forgot. So if you want to take something from your heart, something you really love, too much cheese, too much crackers, I don't know what, give her something else. And the something else needs to be something fun, adventurous. Let her fall in love, let her change profession, learn something new, travel. It can be something small during the day. Take a break during the day, even though laundry is piling and you have emails. Take a break and sit in the sun, read something. So just to take it's not nice. So we are in a way finding a way in how to add something into your life. But first of all, we need awareness. I want you to think for everything I mentioned until now, can you relate to something? Sometimes people hear because they don't eat too much, they eat, like they have a good diet, but they don't lose weight. And this is connected to stress. It's not healthy when we're not sleeping well and the body cannot rest. The factory is not working well, right? We need to give the machine enough oil and nourishment and love. And then you can, everything will flow and the health will come. So we talked about the past, the near past, the near future, and now we talk a little bit about the future before we move to solutions. People that think too much about the long-term future. What do you think will happen in the end? It's a person, and I love those people. I lived in Greece for a few years and I had many Greek friends, and they always think about the future. If I will buy a lottery and I will win, I will buy a yacht and I will sail. And they love to be in the long-term future. It's not bad. But if you think too much about, I will find a partner or not, I will have kids, I will have this, what about money? It can create anxiety because it's the unknown. We really don't know what will happen, right? And the part of us is scared about it. Okay, we are moving into solutions because I feel that I'm touching a lot of heavy stuff and I want you to know there is a way out. Okay. So working with the past and each dimension, it's different kind of work. Okay. Working with the past, it's more working with the pain body. And I will tell you the truth, it can take time, the past. We have the body, the physical body, but we have the pain body. A lot of emotions are there. If you didn't cry freely, probably it's inside. If you were angry and you didn't express it, by the way, anger is, there is relationship related to food so much. A client of mine came into my mind. We'll call him R. It's a man. And one day he was really in a hurry to go to work in time, but he had to go to the post office first. So he was standing in line to the post office, and a young man came and cut in line, and he was, okay, let's breathe. It's okay. I still have time. It's okay. Then a woman and a baby were cut in line, and he started to be really upset, right? It's upsetting. He was angry, but he's number two. He didn't say anything. And then by the time he finished in the post office, he was so angry. He was so angry. He couldn't go to work. He just went home and just ate everything for 2 hours. It's a real story. Many times that you suppress your anger and you don't really express yourself and put boundaries, and this is related to number twos, guys. You're eating and you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself and suppressing yourself instead of just using your voice and saying no. Many times you want to say no, and suddenly you say yes. Oh, I feel no, I say yes. There is no connection. And then anger, and then food. So all this work with the past is so emotional, right? And this is why working with the past, we use techniques that called somatic work, that it's more like rebirthing, that you breathe a lot and you go to the unconscious, imprint work, building a mantra. We'll try to talk about it today. Things like that, because it's not really the thoughts, it's more emotions, it's the past, it's in the body. Building a mantra, it's a great tool to work with the past. Let's say you want to change the imprints about food and or about your body. So you say to yourself every morning when you wake up, food is energy, and in the night, food is energy. If you want to change your imprints about self-worth, you can say I. It's the imprints about I. We didn't have time to talk about it so much. I'm worthy. I'm beautiful. So positive affirmation. But just to say, okay, positive affirmation, it's not enough. You want to build a mantra, not too long. It can be like 3 short sentences, and repeat it again and again as much as you can. In the beginning, it will not work because you said so many mean things to yourself until today that you say it, it will be hard to believe. But it's like writing. In the beginning, you write on sand, the wind comes and blow it off. But you say it again and again, and words have powers, and you know it. There is a lot of power in words. So build a mantra. So this is one call for action. Write to yourself if you want to try it. Build a mantra, a positive mantra. It's better to repeat the mantra 100 times before falling asleep than to blame yourself before bed, right? Or it's better to start the day with and creating your first thought and not letting your mind decide what to think about when you wake up. And usually people wakes up and immediately think about the thing they need to do. So working with the past, and I did a lot, it's anger work. We do anger work. We learn how to hit a pillow. We learn how to take our anger out, not on people, to shout. So nice. So this is more emotional somatic work. The near past and the near future, it's easier to work with. And I will send you, Gabriel will send you the labeling meditation. It's a meditation that can really help with the thoughts. Listen, it's only thoughts. Yeah, there is a radio station in your head, and someone took the microphone and is transmitting thoughts. You're not good enough. Why do you do that? You need to do so much today. Move on. You didn't do enough. Again, again, again. What do you need to do? To take the microphone, right? And decide what to think about. So the labeling meditation will help you. And you'll get a recording and you'll start to practice it and you will see the change. I really want to teach it today, but I'm not sure we have time. So we prepare the recording. But let's think for a second about the near past. Before falling asleep, you're hard with yourself. I don't know if you have kids or nieces and nephews, but let's say you put a kid to bed. What do you say to this kid just before falling asleep? I love you, right? Sweet dreams. Some people bring a guitar. I heard so many answers in groups singing a song. You don't tell the kids, why didn't you do homework? Why didn't you do cleanup? Good night. I hope not. So the near past is treating yourself as somebody you love. It's the self-love that people are longing for. Self-love. Be compassionate to yourself, you know, and it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. This is why practice is needed. The labeling meditation, you can do for 5 minutes a day. It's really a beginner meditation that you start to separate yourself with from the protector, from the thoughts, and suddenly you will see that you have a decision to make. You can decide what to think about. You're becoming the leader of your life. So the self-love is in the near past. And what will be the end goal of the near future? Why people are so stressed? What is missing? So guilt is because of lack of self-love, but stress. Let's say people of the near past, they prepare a lot to a job interview, to the next day. Sometimes they prepare their clothes, they want to wear for the next day. They're really a minute after, a second after, an hour after, a day after, a day before. So why they do that? Why they need to prepare so much? Because they don't trust themselves. The near future is self-trust. You will come there and it will be okay. You prepare enough and then you'll bring yourself and everything will be okay. So the self-trust is the near future. And the long-term future, if the near future is trusting yourself, what will be the solution in the long-term future? Trusting what? Yes, the universe, the existence, the one, nature. This is harder for people. It's not from the mind. It's a sensation. It's an experience. The mind will never trust the future. We read so many things that right that happen and happening every moment. It's a feeling. So I want to share last time the screen. I want you to see the past, the box, and the long-term future are the two dimensions that are connected to the heart. They are more emotional. And this is why more somatic work is needed. Work with no words. The near future and the near past is more the mind, the thoughts. And for that, you'll get the labeling meditation. And now I want to talk about my favorite thing, the present, here and now. Okay, I'm happy we got there at last. Everything that you will do connected to the moment will be better. I don't know if you have a garden. I have a garden. Let's say you water the garden automatically. The garden will not flower, right? Some plant needs to move to the shade because the leaves are burned. Some needs less water because of the fog at night. If you cook automatically and you think about somebody else, the food will not be tasty. You'll put too much salt, too much spices. We say that if somebody is in love, the food is too salty because you think about your loved one and you are not really present. We want to be present. I will tell you a story related to food. When I went to the monastery, I lived in a center for a few years, and I traveled to Poland to a retreat, and they told me while eating, you need to be very, very aware, and you get a bowl of soup. It's not allowed that the spoon will touch the edge of the bowl. Now, it's very hard with the watery soup. Believe me, try it this week. You need to really eat from the center of the bowl because if not, if you think about something you will eat, it will make a lot of noise. Now we sit in a circle, and this is the embarrassing part. If somebody is making a noise, everybody will put the spoon down and will sit meditation and will wait. I remember once one guy came, a Spanish guy, was new, and he was eating, and then everybody put the spoon, and he was eating, and I picked a little bit. I wanted to see his reaction. He was eating, and then, oh, wow, I wasn't there. And everybody will experience that in the beginning, but it's not embarrassing because you feel at home, because when they tell you, be present with your food, be present with your body. And this is a great practice. It gives me a lot. I started to eat and be aware not only of the taste of the food, but also if I'm full or not. Many times we eat, and suddenly, where is the food? It disappeared. Who ate that? It's you, because we thought about something else and we did it automatically. So, talking about the moment, it's a calling for awakening. What you can do during the day to do it with more awareness. And then you will see that so many things become bliss, become joyful. When we're in a hurry, when we don't enjoy, it's stressful. But when you have time, and time can stretch anyway, you eat for 10 minutes, you eat anyway. So if you really clear your mind and you're present in the moment, it can be so tasty, so joyful, like a celebration. So we learned that to be present is better. In the past, there is not a lot of happiness. Usually the box is full with memories, imprints, sorrow. We like the past, we're not against. You can be there, okay? For 1% time a day, how much you want to spend in the past? 5%, 10, it's okay. The near past, we want to learn from our mistakes. You can use few percent there, but not too much, not 20%, not 40%. When you make a mistake, say I'm sorry, learn and continue. We don't need to be hard with ourselves so much, right? The near future, we need some near future. I need 20%. I realize I have so many things to do, a schedule, people cancel, people want to book. What do I'm going to cook for the kids for dinner? I need near future 20%. And long-term future, a vision is important, 5%, 10%, but then you have 50 to 60% in the present. So we want to start to accumulate time in the present as much as possible. The thoughts will come all the time, the guest will come, and the thoughts will tell you, maybe eat something. I will tell you, sorry, eat something salty, eat something sweet, maybe drink something. The guest will come, will continue to come always. But in meditation, we find the center, we find a voice and can say, not now. It's not never, it's not now. We like guests, we have guest room, but you need to decide when to eat and what to eat and when to be connected and present. When you learn the art of mindfulness and connection, you enjoy so many things that you already have in your life. But because you are stressed, you don't enjoy it. So I hope it was good. I have so much to say, and I give the microphone to beautiful Gabby. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, Priya. Wow, that was so much amazing, beautiful information in such a small amount of time. Thank you for doing that, because I just took about a million notes, and I will do more debrief on future group calls so we can talk more about it, because man, you could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. But so many things were just coming to my mind of how, again, how important mindset is in terms of eating and nutrition and wellness. But just a couple quick notes I want to point out here is we were talking about crying and feeling more emotional, the importance of expressing your emotions, whether it's joy, dancing, laughing, or crying, sadness, or expressing your anger in healthy ways so it doesn't build up later and lead to what we were talking about. And this is just another more of like a physiological standpoint of the impact or the connection of health and mindset. When we are chronically stressed and we aren't living in the present and we're consumed by our thoughts and we're all sorts of anxious because we aren't living in the present and doing this mindset work that Priya teaches, then your stress and your cortisol is going to be high. What's crazy about this on a physiological standpoint is your cortisol wipes out your mineral levels and it causes a calcium shell. And so this is talking more minerals and nutrition, but the connection, when you have a calcium shell around your cell because of high calcium, because of the cortisol hormone, and your other minerals, maybe like magnesium, potassium, are depleted because of that stress, then you actually physically feel less emotions. And so it is crazy how connected mindset is to your physical well-being on an intercellular level. That was just one thought. And then another one was how important being present, which all this mindset work does, is allows you to be more present in the moment, and how important that is for your eating habits. One, because then you can eat when you're hungry and stop eating when you're full, which is so hard to do this day and age. Is we're constantly thinking about other things. We're on the go, we're stressed, we're eating because it's just that time, we're overeating because we're not paying attention to our fullness cues. So in that regards, it's really important. But also, which a lot of you know about because we do it through the Empowered program, is talking about how important mindfulness when we're eating is for our digestive health, and how when we're sitting there present and eating while we're paying attention, your digestive enzymes are being released into your stomach organ to break down your food, and your enzymes get released into your saliva to help break down your food, and your digestive tract is moving the way it should be to prevent bloating and gassiness and digestive issues. And that is all from being present in the moment while you're eating. And so I have, again, so many thoughts of how mindset connected to stress and cortisol and mindfulness impacts our physical health. But and also, even talking about just the importance of finding joy and filling your cup in other ways in life, like Priya was saying, whether that's like learn something new, go for a bike ride, finding little bits of joy in your home and in your work life, so that we don't need to use food to always fill those cups. And so there's just so much there. Priya, thank you so much for doing that. Before I let you go, I'll first ask if anyone has any questions right now to either ask live on the call or to pop in the question box. Please do. Give it a moment. And feel free to just pop on if you have a question on the call. How do you build self-trust? Andrea asks.
This is a good question, and you know that it's the base of the work. There was a Zen master, Master Dogen. He was one of the most important Zen master in the lineage of Zen. And he said to his students, he had a center, and his most famous lecture, he started like that. Do you know why students don't make progress? Because you don't trust yourself. And you nailed it. This is the most important thing. How do I trust myself? So the thing is that there was a moment in your life, and all of us, life, were scared, and we lost trust. We didn't know what to do. So what happened is the mind took over and started to be in control out of fear. Basically, inside we are scared. We are scared from looking at people in the eyes. We are scared of saying no. We are scared to so many things, right? And the self that we want to trust is hidden in the basement. But the self is so beautiful. There is an inner child there that really wants you to trust her. She's beautiful. She wants freedom. She's young. She did nothing wrong. So the way we do it, we work with the mind, not with the self. We start, first of all, to work with the fear, to overcome the fear, because the fear was there for a reason. So what will help practically, this is the story, practically will help is meditation. I will tell you why. The mind is scared child. And now think about that you let a scared child drive in the car of your life, right? He's driving. This is not so healthy. It can be even dangerous to drive out of fear. In meditation, when you sit and the thoughts are passing, and you say, no, not now, coming back to your body, coming back to your breath, then there is somebody else to trust. There is an adult. There is the adult that was never there to lead all the parts. So this is why we want to develop this higher self, this presence that the mind can trust. So meditation is the solution for self-trust.